2017 Warhammer, and I said no. That is why no. That is definitely why no. But we're going to do some potentially exclusive to the Twitch stream things for a few seconds here. So you know what we're going to do, chat? We're going to do something that's not going on YouTube. We're going to found a fortress and then retire it. And then we're going to do some more adventurers. But first, we got to found a fortress. So time moves on. Time moves on. And then we get to go on another adventure where we are going to try and go from where we were, not from an elfy spot, but from like a human village or something to try and get to that same spot. All right, let's find that river. So this river, I think right here, is the river, right? All right, so here, right here is Hotbeards. And this is that spot that was real cool. Actually, man, I could make it bigger. We could have both of those waterfalls. Can we just do a fuck the frames fort, chat? Because we could do a fuck the frames fort. I haven't done a fuck the frames fort in forever, but we could get both of those waterfalls. The one that actually killed us though was down here. This was the one where if we were to embark right now, we would find our elf's body at the bottom of it. F in chat for Blind's PC. Oh no, don't say that. You know, nah. But yeah, this has shallow metal and deep metals, light aquifer. Just one biome, hot, untamed savanna, untamed wilds. Please. I think I am going to make this embark a little bigger, though. Yeah, that's real steep. What faction are we? The Crimson Pulley. We got to make sure that we're part of the same faction, otherwise we fucked up. So the Crimson Pulley, same faction, right? And now we are going to do something I very rarely do. We're going to do an embark. I am going to prepare for the journey carefully. I'm not going to name any of the dwarves. All right? We are just going to do the group name, the symbol, and select what we bring. That is it. I'm going to immediately retire this fort. So we need to name this fort, chat. And no, we're not going to call it Head Smash and Mothfall. Actually, could I... Hold on. Is moth a word? Mothfalls. We are definitely calling this fort Mothfall. On that bombshell you joined. Hi, Shirzul. What's up? By that bombshell, are you referring to the moth dumping me and me going, you know, splat? Well, I mean, not my fortress, but the elf that it was carrying, yes. So we're going to call this fort Mothfall. Chat's kind of quiet, but if you guys have a good idea for a name for this group, we could go with it. Halls of Defending, that fits. And as for the symbol, a Cloister of Rings? I really wish I could just do a random symbol. Cloister of Rings. Let's do... It wasn't a dwarf, it was an elf. It looked like a dwarf because this tile set, but trust me, it was an elf. It's gonna take me forever to find that hammer. Game has so many different words for hammers. An image of a warhammer is going to be the image of our fortress. So this is possibly the fastest embark I've ever done. We're gonna bring an extra pick. We're gonna bring an extra battle axe. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend like 5 minutes setting up a little tiny non-fort, basically. Bring a bunch of beer. Bring a bunch of food. Bring a bunch of cave spider brain. Bunch more beer. That'll probably be most of it. Yeah, that'll do. So this is just a very simple default embark, basically. Hey, Psychon, what's up, dude? And we are going to back to the dwarves. So we have our 7 dwarves. I am setting up a small town to drop off adventurers at that's going to become a fortress. And we're going to embark. Now, what this is going to be a fortress we're going to play. You have arrived after a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidding wilderness beyond. Your harsh trek has finally ended, and your party of 7 is to make an outpost for the glory of all. Threstar Besmar. There is almost no supplies left, but with stout labor comes sustenance, whether by bolt, plow, or hook. Provide for your dwarves. You are expecting a supply caravan just before the winter entombs you. Thank you very much for that. Prime's up for 32 months, Psychon! Here's
I fixed it.
big round of beers in chat, please. Thanks. You're expecting a supply caravan just before the winter entombs you, but it is spring now, enough time to delve secure lodgings in ere the dingoes get hungry. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place. Alamid Mothfall. Strike the earth. How'd the elf run go? Chat, do you guys want to tell a retired Navy vet how the elf run went? Do you guys want to tell him? All right, so we've done this real quick embark. This beautiful embark in this place that we found. Let's actually just zoom out and take a look at this whole thing. Pretty rad spot, if I do say so myself. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Swimmingly? Let's just say that my moth, for some reason, decided to take a swim and took us with it, and we went whee off of a waterfall. Also, chat, can I get a round of beers for that resub? Do I need to tell you twice? That's a lovely spot. I like it. So we found this with that adventurer. I'm just going to real quick just give us wood cutting. Let's give you wood cutting. Let's give you wood cutting. And just quickly do this. Just let these dwarves run off. Start hacking down some trees real quick. We're going to quickly build a little crosswalk here. Just gonna do that real quick. And let's give one of these dwarves mining. giant otter is fighting. Oh, well, it looks like the corpses have already started to pile up. I didn't direct the mount to dive into water. The mount just dove into water. I was like, I know that you can tell the mount to, like, commit suicide, basically, but the mount got startled. I didn't do that. That was just the game deciding, okay, you die now. Or the mount trying to, like, shake me off or something. I don't know. But something spooked my giant moth and drowned us. I'm building a temporary hut here, basically, where we can put all of our food. Carpentry. Just a little place underground to get some cooking going. Finish placing all of this stuff. We're going to make the carpenter shop. We can jump over to you. And yeah, you know what? I think we can put this stuff up on YouTube. It doesn't really matter all that much. And then dig up here, and then this is going to be our little muddy pit. Mothfall. The aptly named little dwarfy spot where these dwarves are going to stay while they await reinforcements. Because, damn it, they're going to need it. Also, I have to get out of this fort pretty quickly because I don't actually have a population cap set. So if I wait currently, it's gonna get busy down here. Let's make a food stockpile for everything except for seeds. This is how quickly you can get, like, just a living space for your dwarves set up. Dormitory. Got one dwarf set as a miner. And there we go. Anything else I should build, chat? What do you think? I mean, I think we could pretty safely just leave it there. I guess we just need to pasture my work animals. My buffalo and the horse. Aside from that, I don't think there's too much more we really need to do. That's probably just a spot we can leave it at. Unless there's any, like, heavy recommendations you guys have. I think we'll give them a tiny little zone down here. A temple to no specific deity. And a tiny little zone down here as a inn and tavern. Just for citizens. The dwarves have somewhere to hang out. They can pray and they can talk. They're going to need to do a lot of praying. Winter has arrived on the calendar, and I'm going to immediately retire this fortress when this is done. So what kind of people do you think we should bring to this fort, chat? What kind of people should we bring? We could bring animal people. We could bring goblins. We could bring dwarves. But we're going to go through, and we're going to name a bunch of adventurers, and we're going to go on a walking trip. I haven't seen any elephant men in this world, and I don't like... You know, you've known me for a bit, General Grub, right? You know that I'm the person who's just like, I don't want to do the thing that, like, makes the lore feel weird. This is like me saying, yo, what tools should we bring? And you're like, a nuclear bomb. And I'm just like, how about instead of that, we just bring a couple AK-47s? You know, I'm not the person who's going to do that, and I'm never going to be that person. But anyway, we're going to retire this fort. But I understand now where your allegiances lie. Let's see. In this world, we've seen black bear people. We've seen chameleon people. We've seen lion people. Those are all the people that I know that are in this region. that would make some sense. Giant leeches are local to this region. Giant impalas are local to this region. We've seen giant cougars. I have not seen a single elephant person. So I'm not going to bring an elephant person. If I'd seen an elephant person, then sure. Because then I could justify in my brain that there's elephant people in this region. But because I haven't seen one, doesn't make sense. Chameleon or impala men? Or like elephant men? Yeah. You see, I'm currently a retired Navy vet. I'm only into tame impala. Giant impala is not something I'm too familiar with personally. You're not the only Ukrainian in the chat, so I know what you mean. But that's kind of the analogy of like how heavy a gun I bring. So I'm gonna stay away from the elephant people. But bear people are a possibility. If we want to be really mean, I could bring a chipmunk man, and he'll just get stepped on by somebody and die. But if you're in Ukraine, I hope you're staying safe. You're staying safe. It's scary. Especially right now. I mean, considering this is what my Twitter feed looks like right now. Somebody asks in the comments of that Twitter thread, what's a marauder? And like the first response is somebody who doesn't know how to Google to search up the meaning of words. That's what a marauder is, apparently. Anyway. Enough of the World War III doom scrolling. Let's see. Can I ask what part of Ukraine you're from originally? Are you out of the country then? Like I said, stay safe, regardless of what you have to do. It's scary shit. Kind of want to be just like a crew of chameleon people, because I kept on, in the last fort that I had, I kept on getting chameleon people in my fort, and then they kept on, like, getting caught in my traps, and I kept letting them go. They were always very peaceful, so I think I'm going to make a squad of chameleon people. We're going to be starting in... I mean, we could actually start in the Thrifty... in the human faction, the Thrifty Realms. Jeez. Yeah, I was going to say, being in your hometown's a bad place. Or where you... Being at home is still right now is bad. That is bad, but... This chat, since, like, this invasion has started, has just been kind of a 50-50. It's either talking about nothing but the most end of the world scenario, World War III / that conflict, and just like complete other subject. There's like no in between. I don't know. I just feel like there's nothing I can reasonably do, and that's the worst feeling. But not much you can do. Let's take you. I'm going to start as part of the Elven factions again. Let's just roll up a bunch of chameleon people. Let's do like 4 or 5 chameleon people and go on a long walk. And just make sure that they all bring food. Got Ova. Let's give you a random name until I find one that's... Let's go with Saba. Saba Styleworth. Saba Styleworth. And Saba Styleworth, I think, an adequate spearman. Has average strength, average agility, and average toughness. Maybe not the smartest person. Also a talented herbalist. With a few points in intimidation. This is maybe just my perspective, Grub, but I feel like we're at a point now where saying sorry just kind of doesn't cut it anymore. I don't know, like, I feel like if I was in a position where my home country was being invaded and everybody just said sorry, I would just get mad. But maybe that's just my brain. I don't know. I don't know what the correct response is now. Let's drop down that point and just give you general fighting skill. Maybe a point in, yeah, unfortunately. Guess I could throw in Intimidator. Not that that's actually particularly useful for me. Give you points in Rider. What kind of, mobs do you think... Let's give points in Swimmer, as we learned last time. What kind of mounts do you think chameleon people would have? Your time off of the news and volunteer stuff for now. Thanks for being aware, though. I mean, I'm about as aware as I can be. That's what I will say. I mean, I've been yelling at people to buy this all day. Also, they're at, like, what? 2.9 million? In, like, less than 48 hours? And, you know, 500 games. Apparently, like 233 of them work on Linux. That's kind of disappointing. You bought it? Yeah, damn straight. You better have. I'm buying it when payday rolls around. But, hey, Wendigo. How's things? That, and I'm also doing this. You know, you can port this Deltify if you want. But all of that being said, let's pay attention to this. Her scales are striped red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and her eyes are black. That's our chameleon lady. She personally prefers a noisy and bustling life to boring days without activity. Well, that's obviously why they're going to this dwarven fort. And disregards tradition, values decorum, dignity and proper behavior, and dreams of attaining a rank in society. Well, naturally. That is why they're traveling to this newly settled dwarven fortress they've heard of. She is not bothered in the slightest by deviations from the norm or even extreme differences in lifestyle and appearance. I like this chameleon. A good chameleon. She's very ambitious and always looking for a way to better her situation. Can be a little tight with resources when working on projects and doesn't often experience strong cravings or urges. She is troubled by this and she values... because she values such powerful forces in life, and is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger, and does not go out of her way to help others. She is slow to trust others, and she has little interest in joking around. And doesn't tend to hold on to grievances. She's got an alder spear, which is alderly useless. So I'm not even going to bring it. Let's jump into new. Although, actually, because that's, I guess, my only option. Alder Spear, it is. I'm going to bring in extra water skin. And... looks like fruit and nuts are all we get. So peaches it is. Let's just take a stack of 10 peach. Say a stack of 15 peaches. Millions of peaches. Just for me. So that's our elf so far. That's our first elf. Who's Saba. S-A-B-A. I'm actually just going to open up a notepad doc. Just write in S-A-B-A. Style. What was the last name? I can't see it currently. Worth. Styleworth. Saba Styleworth. Chameleon lady. Right? So that's our first. Now, that we've done that, we're going to back up and say, do you have any pets? I don't think so. I could bring a pet chipmunk with, but, I mean, what's the point? So instead of that, where's the button that I'm looking for? Equipment. Add a new character to the party. Excellent. So now we can now add a second person. Do you think that? Yeah, you know what? Let's bring another chameleon person. How's that? Let's bring another chameleon. I could also bring a specific person. Any living characters from around the world. Bring another chameleon. Again, of the same faction. You emerged from the wilds and became a clother in... so we can select which forest retreat they're from. Doesn't equal where we start. Let's say the Elven Forest Retreat of Leopard Hailed is where this person is from. And, they're going to be a chameleon man instead of a chameleon woman. So for some reason, they've given them the same name. Give them a random name. We've got Saba. And now we have, let's say Thalu Poolwing? T-H-A-L-U. Poolwing. Chameleon Man. You want donut peaches? What's a donut peach? You mean, oh wait, when you say donut peach, do you mean like those little, like gummy candies that have like a hole in the middle that are peach flavored? Is that what you're talking about? But we're going to go next on you. We're also going to give you above average strength and toughness, but you're also going to get endurance and patience. And you're going to, I always wonder, what's the difference between archer and bowman? It's like, aren't those the same skill? And we'll give you a few points in swordsman. You're a swordsman, but not as good of a fighter. A little bit of a wrestler. You've got some reading experience, and you like carving bones, we'll say. It's a peach about the size of a donut, and the pit is in the middle, and you can poke the pit out with your finger and have a donut peach? Huh. Do they, like, cut the top and bottom off? How the heck does that work? I don't believe I've ever seen one of those before. Interesting. Like, this is my first time ever hearing of this concept. His scales are striped red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, and his eyes are black. He is easily moved to mercy and cracks easily under pressure, and has a sense of duty. He tends to form only tenuous emotional bonds with others, and tends to not revel in personal information. He tends to avoid any physical confrontations and is slow to trust others and brave in the face of imminent danger. So that's our second chameleon person. We got a chameleon man and a chameleon woman. Should we do another chameleon person or somebody else? I'm thinking we do a group of 3 for this one. Why do I keep doing that? So what I keep trying to do is move up and down with plus and minus, which actually like adds and subtracts items in this screen. Add a second water skin and new fruit and nuts. Bring pears. We're gonna go next. You've got some points remaining. The concept of a hunting bobcat to me is amazing. Let's bring a war bobcat. Unfortunately, this is a bobcat as in like the cat animal, not as in the front end loader. Just so that we're clear here. Before we start, this is not a front end loader with like, what do you call it? Like, Mad Max stuff taped to the sides. Unfortunately. Boars? I mean, that would be very boring. I mean, I could. Dingoes. You bring groundhogs. Oh, they got jaguar. Just normal ass wolves. There's badgers, black bears. Nah. We're good. All right, so that's the party of 2 now. Let's go back. Let's add somebody new to the party. You know what? This could be kind of fun. Let's bring a dwarf. And this dwarf is from the Crimson Pulley. And this dwarf from the Crimson Pulley originated in Hotbeards. Unfortunately, this dwarf is a fishery worker. That's a damn shame. Let's be Besmer. Torch join. The dwarf. Besmar. Torch join. The dwarf. So this dwarf is from the faction that we're going to be playing. So in my mind, this dwarf is the one kind of putting this group together from this elven faction to go help them found this new fortress. That's kind of the brain space that my mind is occupying right now. You're not going to be... Let's make you into a fortress guard. Let's say they were a fortress guard. A newly minted fortress guard. You are a finely minted fortress guard of the great Toulon animal in Hotbeards, of the Dwarven Fortress, and Destiny is calling. So they were trained by Animal. I don't know if Animal's here right now, but if you're here, Animal, you trained this dwarf, damn it. I appear to have it up on the wrong screen. How did I do this? I see how I did it. All right, so you, Besmer, are going to jump over to here. So Besmer is going to have that. You're going to be a mace dwarf. Hammer dwarf, actually. Competent hammer dwarf. I'm going to give you some doctoring skills. Very novice, but he's tried it a couple of times. Let's say you're an armor smith. Novice, of course. You've got a couple points in comedian and flattery. And obviously you're lying about how successful this is going to be. So we're going to give you adequate in lying. And you can have some spatial sense. Next. She has a scratchy voice, and her teeth are crowded. Her somewhat broad ears have nearly fused lobes, and her hair is clean-shaven. Her copper eyes are close set, and she has high cheekbones. Her eyelashes are quite long, and her nose is somewhat long. Her hair is pumpkin, and her skin is pink. She personally doesn't respect a society that is settled into harmony without debate and strife, and doesn't see the attainment of knowledge as important, and dreams of crafting a masterwork someday. She doesn't stick with things, even if minor difficulties arise, and she desires little for herself in the way of possessions. She enjoys being in crowds, and she is pleased by her own appearance and talents. She is not particularly interested in what others think of her, and she is rarely happy or enthusiastic. She is conflicted by this, as she values parties and merrymaking in the abstract. She is somewhat quarrelsome and is bothered by this, since she values friendship. She does not have a great aesthetic sensitivity, and she is conflicted by this as she values artwork in its creation. Does not easily hate or develop negative feelings and likes a little excitement now and again. She tends to be swayed by emotional appeals and does not easily fall in love and rarely develops positive feelings. She often feels discouraged and occasionally overindulges. Would anybody like to be this dwarf, chat? And occasionally overindulges. And she acts with little determination and confidence, and she does not go out of her way to help others, and she tends to be a little wasteful when working on projects. Would anybody like to be this dwarf, Besmir? By that, I mean going here. Oh, did I just... Yes, I just completely unmade that character. That's fine, though. Customize name. That's what I need to do. Or rather, set first name. Chat, I need a name for this dwarf. Who would like to be this dwarf? We gotta increase the interaction here just a little bit, I think. That, my friend, is just a butt. Padinsky? You'll take Padinsky will be this dwarf? Padinsky. What was your original... Actually, hold on. What was your original name? Your original name was Besmer. So, Besmer Padinsky. It's dwarf. And since it's Padinsky, we'll make you into a boy. Boy dwarf. Next. Name stats. Yada yada. That's funny. Just found a bug. Got a copper warhammer. Let's give you a second water skin. And a stack of 20 prepared intestines. You're gonna need them. And, do you want a pet, Padinsky? You'd love to be a dwarf? I'll make another one. Would you prefer a dwarf or a goblin, actually? If you were given the option, dwarf or goblin? Herms. Well, what kind of pet do you want? Obviously, it has to be worth 215 points. What kind of pet do you want? Could give you a donkey. Herms wants a goblin? Alrighty, we'll give you a goblin. Let's give you a pig. How's that sound? You got a pet pig named Id. Unless you want something else. I'm literally taking notes on this shit. All right. Now I can add one more hero. There's going to be a goblin. We'll say this goblin is from the local human faction. So let's say set first name. Back out of that screen. EMTHA. EMTHA is HRUMHRIMS. Rumhrims, your Ethma, the goblin. You are a miller in Jaw Dweller, a human hamlet, and you have strayed far from home. You've never strayed far from home. Since you're a miller, give you some points in focus and willpower and creativity. Spatial sense, maybe some empathy. All this checks out. You are a miller, which means you probably have a few points in cooking, I would assume. Maybe a little bit of a herbalist, and you've tried brewing once or twice. Maybe you kept bees for a little bit as a younger gobby, and once you were taught how to do basic mechanics. You're, after all, a great miller, in fact. But you're just an adequate cook. Let's say that you also were taught how to dance once by another goblin that came by the fort, or the hamlet that you were living in. And you've got some points in intimidation just purely because you're a goblin. You got trained in some basic wrestling. And let's say that you're a novice armor user. You can climb a little bit and you know how to swim. You're a novice swimmer, of course. So that is your goblin. The description of your goblin, of course, is her hair is extremely long, or his hair, sorry. His hair is extremely long. He is short, and his narrow ears are splayed out. He has an angular chin, and his nose is quite long. His nose bridge is convex, and his red eyes are somewhat narrow. His hair is fuchsia, and his skin is lime. He personally believes that those who sacrifice for others should be deeply respected, and thinks that introspection is valueless, and that those who waste time in self-examination are deluded fools, and he values cunning, and doesn't really see the point in working hard. And he dreams of making a great discovery. Just look at that. He does not go out of his way to help others, and he is troubled by this because he fully respects sacrifice and tends to hang on to grievances. He occasionally overindulges and tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals. Did I post on Discord today that I was live? Yes, I did. He's troubled and he is quite comfortable with others that have a different appearance or culture, and occasionally overindulges. Tends to be swayed by emotional appeals, and generally acts impartially, and is rarely moved to mercy. He is quick to anger and often is nervous, and he likes to take it easy. He is brave in the face of imminent danger and passive in discussions. He has a greedy streak and an active imagination. He likes to brawl, and he dislikes adoration or though he dislikes the adoration of fighting as an art. Interesting. You don't like combat. And he, as an art to be refined, and he has a sense of duty, though still views loyalty as a dim light, at least in the abstract. It's an interesting little goblin. All right, you have a whip and a pearwood carving knife. A copper whip, nonetheless. You have a linen pouch made from linen cloth, and some prepared kangaroo heart. And we'll give you an extra water skin. And, most goblins tend to have... goblins that grow up in non-goblin societies tend to have a lot of emotional conflict in their minds. And the reason for that is they tend to be... like, a goblin's natural tendencies is to be cruel and kind of evil, but if they're raised in like dwarven, elven, or human faction, they always end up being weirdly conflicted, complicated, fun characters. One of my favorite characters I ever had in a fort was a goblin who actually ended up being the king of a dwarven faction. This goblin was literally a dwarf, right down to, like, dreams of crafting a masterwork someday, but was a goblin. And you'd never know that they were a goblin outside of they were sometimes cruel and conflicted by it. They were sometimes cruel but conflicted by it. It was like the only goblinish tendency in that entire description, aside from the fact that they were green with red glowy eyes. At D&D and tabletop, I am terrible at D&D. But been a long time since I've tried. My history is not one for D&D. And you have a kitten, by the way. Hurums. So the last one is Emtha. I'm taking notes. Your last name is Lucid Hyde. Plus, this is more just so that I don't lose anybody. Pet kitten. So they're all just gonna look like dwarves in game, but it's 2 goblins, or a goblin, 2 chameleon people, and a dwarf is our crew. And we are settling in the middle of the elven faction, so in my mind, Saba and Thalu, the 2 chameleon people, chameleon man and woman, lived here. The dwarf, Pedinsky, started off at Hotbeard's, our previous fortress, went and spoke with and convinced the goblin Hurums Ethma to come with Padinsky to try and find some elves that would be willing to come and join us in this new fortress that was just founded like less than a couple of days ago. So while the fortress is setting up, we're basically bringing some extra hands to help. Now let's do this and then immediately save. Just you reunited after a long journey, you are together with your companions again. Thalu is here. Thalu is from here and might have some local information. Let the party venture forth. And we have discovered a river. Press question mark for help. I'm going to save. Cat would bring some peace to a conflicted mind. Yes, it's a, what do you call it? A mental health therapy cat. Kitten? Mental health therapy kitten. That's what we're gonna go with. Therapy kitten. Don't we all need a therapy kitten? I think we all need a therapy kitten. I think large parts of the world could use a therapy kitten right about now. Also, congratulations on your swap to the PC instead of the phone, Wendigo. I'm sure that the typing procedures are much more pleasant on the PC. Now that the game is loaded, we can continue playing. They sure are. Hell yeah. I mean, typing is a hell of a lot better than that. Last time you played DF, a cat ended your fort? How so? Did it, like, die in a doorway or something? All right, so we are... Let's see. We are currently playing Padinsky, who says, why are they so fixated on these bubbles? Says Padinsky. We have Thalu, Besmer, Emtha, and Saba. That's our little gaggle of crew. So if I just walk, the others will follow. The pets will as well. Of course, currently we are you. And you is currently an average-sized dwarf, so we're currently playing Padinsky, who is unfettered. We, of course, have Air, who's that's the bobcat. Yes. We have Id, the pig, or the boar. And I don't know why he's blinking. I don't know why any of them are blinking, actually. And then we have Finsast, the cat. But we are going to fast travel out of here if we can. There we go. Cross the little bridge. I'm going to pop the map up, which is very helpful. We're going to follow this big river. I hope that I can... Oh, there's a river. There's a bridge. I was going to say, I hope that I can cross it, but... Up there. Fortunately, a lot of these towns have little bridges in them, so we're just going to follow the river. Because unlike the previous run, I don't have... flying mount. So I'm kind of limited to the natural rivers that are built across. Actually, what do these look like? Oh, they're literal just like constructed bridges. That's interesting. So one thing that I sometimes forget to do, which I need to remember, is when we get to our destination, we all have to eat and drink. Because if we don't, there's a problem that can happen. Your dwarves or characters in your adventure mode squad, when you reclaim the new fort, may have starved to death while you were gone. And so they're... Oh, you feeling easy. It says, hello, it's great to have a friend like you. I've been rained on and that makes me grouchy. Well, we jumped back into fast travel mode, and whatever was making us feel uneasy seems to have stopped. Check in with the group. Speak with Saba. Bypass the greeting. Ask how the listener is feeling. It was raining on me, says Saba, and it makes me so grouchy. Meanwhile, Thalu is all like, hello, it's great to have a friend like you. You know, I don't actually know what the button is to pet my pets. Don't actually know the hotkey combo for that. Jump back into moving as our little band of adventurers continues to follow this great river. Hello, Nox. What is up? I think you are probably aware, but unfortunately your dwarf finally passed after much, like, resistance to dying. You died in battle, though, which was pretty glorious. Not as good as you could get. Get right up to the edge of this river. Stop traveling. Find somewhere for us to snooze. Which was inevitable. This is true. Key binding. Man, you can claim pets, I guess, as long as they're tame. Create an object. I think it might be X. Sharp rock, which I don't think I definitely can't do that. I'm trying to, like, remember how to make a campfire. Like, we can make a little campfire here, and then we could sit underneath this tree, maybe. Can I point you to the stream? Not VOD from yesterday, but the VOD from the day before, I think. Actually, I can't remember which day of fighting you died in. It might actually be the most recent VOD I uploaded. I unfortunately am pretty bad at keeping track of what happens on what day. But I could check an event in Legends mode in between. Shoutouts to Anonymous for chucking $10 into my charity fundraiser that I've got going on in the background. And HIO's almost at $3 million. Well, yeah. Let's but currently what we're doing, anybody who's wondering, is we still have, someone say expats an animal? Definitely not. That's the create screen. We've started the base of a new fortress, and we are taking adventurers there. Hotbeard's, that old fort, still exists, but is... we'll just sleep. Although before we sleep, each of us needs to eat. So let's... I've got a lot of gold coins. Oh, great. My water's frozen. Eat the kangaroo heart. You're not hungry. Not hungry. All right. Just you are thirsty. Well, we can sleep through the night. Sleep. And now it looks like our dude here, who's currently on the ground still we've stood up now. Padinsky's the only one who's hungry and thirsty. Everybody else is fine. The rest of them are all totally good, except Besmir here is hungry and thirsty. So, Besmir, you're going to eat those giant great horned owl intestines. And let's shout to everybody and say, greet everybody. Good to see you all and have friends like you, we say. And then we continue shouting. We're going to express emotions. Feelings of great contentment after eating a fine dish. I ate a meal. I am so content about this. And the cat is licking Thalu, who is the chameleon man. So our chameleon man is getting licked by the cat. Or not the cat, the bobcat. Our large bobcat, which is this guy here, is licking the chameleon person. So that's happening. And let's start moving once again. So just like that, we continue following the river. And just like that, the sun comes up. It's getting rained on. We can just kind of cross on an angle like this. Getting close, right? There it is. So here is Hotbeards. And just up here, as we get even more thirsty and hungry. And here is our new, although actually, hold up. I can't. I do actually need to go to the other side of this after it offloads site. You need to go here. Otherwise, there's going to be giant rivers that I will not be able to cross. I may actually not be able to do what I want to do. Hey, my water. Never mind, we're good. My water stopped being frozen, so that's good. Drink our water. Drink our water. Drink our water. Water, and now we're nauseous because we drank too much. But let's eat our food. How's everybody else doing? Everybody else is fine. It's just the one. All right. Well, this is the very large river, but this is our destination. We made it. Not too bad, if I do say so myself. Maybe not our destination. We need to get to the other side. The problem is, I think that we need to stop here. You lost a few adventures before you learned you could thought in a fire. I was honestly just too lazy to look up the hotkey to make a fire. I think this might actually be the way in. It's Q? Probably. Wave, eh? It's great to have a friend like you. Yeah, this is a sketchy cliff here. So we need to be on the other side of that. I should have built a bridge. Oh well. But I can retire them at this location, so we will do that. All right, now we can take over the fortress again with our chameleon people in it. Hopefully they don't immediately die. Hopefully. Hopefully they don't immediately die. Although I think right now is probably a good time for me to get lunch, chat. Because we got our 2 chameleon people, our dwarf, Padinsky, and our goblin. They all made it with their pets. It's not too long of a walk, to be fair. We've kind of done this the easy route. I haven't really done any harder routes. It's a pretty, like, free of combat route, too, so it's a good one for me to, like, learn little bits. But I think I'm going to take a break of 5 minutes. And I'm going to go get myself some lunch. So, if you're just lurking, now's maybe a good time to like get up and stretch. Of course, I'd appreciate if you stick around. When I return, we will continue the new fortress, which is